All right, so here I am about 40 hours into my first fast. I wanted to do this for a variety of reasons. I'm slightly, I'm gaining a little weight this summer. I'm obviously not obese, but yeah, I work out a lot, and I'm intrigued by fasting. I think it's kind of an interesting idea. And at first, I was kind of thinking maybe it was a little bit of a crutch that I had lost the discipline that I had early on 20 years ago when I lost 70 pounds with restrictive diet and exercise regime. But as I investigated this, I learned a lot of benefits come from fasting, and one of the things I've been really indulging this summer. It's been a beautiful summer, lots of good weather. I really enjoy being out on the porch, on the patio, that is, and um, cooking on my smoker, and having a few drinks with that. And I think the real motivation for doing this was to try to give my gut a break. And as I investigated that, sure enough, if you did do that, if you do it right, you can optimize your gut a little bit, give it a break, maybe get a good night's sleep out of it even. So here I am, I was really apprehensive about fasting, and it was tough. It's not easy, but it kind of reminds me of quitting cigarettes because with eating, it's such a big part of our day as Western people that you can't imagine being without, food or looking forward to dinner or, what are we going to have tonight? So, I don't know. I mean, when I quit smoking cigarettes, it was the automatic cigarettes that were really the problem, the one where you sit down at a bar and have a drink, get in the car with that first cup of coffee in the morning. I couldn't imagine life without those. And, you get used to it. You find that there are replacements for those moments, for those cravings, if you will. And the same with food. I mean, I couldn't imagine that first day yesterday. What am I going to do with myself if I don't have, my meal to look forward to? And to me, that was my biggest apprehension. And it came and went, and my hunger pangs came and went. And another observation of me is that I do a lot of athletic events, and I've done some marathons and some Ironmans, and it reminds me, fasting, of kind of hitting the wall. The wall is when the blood glucose level goes down, and the brain the body no longer has a ready supply of blood sugar to provide energy for the event to continue. So your body more or less switches over to fat burning or some other energy, like muscle even, and you notice it. I mean, it's a less it's a less accessible type of energy. It takes some metabolism in order for that to occur, and you notice it, especially while you're working out really hard. So, same here. I think my brain, I had this brain fog, a little bit of a dullness and a headache kind of thing. I wouldn't call it a headache, but it was kind of in the back here, and I think it reminded me. I guess that's the point of hitting the wall um, while working out or doing a long event. So, I was familiar with that, and so the response the brain has is it kind of doesn't have that ready access to energy, and so you feel the difference. That's the point. Um, but it's familiar, so I can handle that. And I think that since it's my first fast, there'll come a time when I get used to that, just as I have in athletics. I get used to hitting the wall, and I can crash through the wall a lot easier now than I did, when I was newbie at that kind of event. So that's, big observations that I've had about fasting. A surprising observation is there's no waves of hunger. Um, this is really interesting to me. I think we are so conditioned to eating that it's a cause and effect kind of thing. We eat. There's metabolism that occurs as a result of eating and digestion, and there's insulin response and all this stuff you probably already have read about. And then, there's this cycle that you go through. And I'm less hungry now than on any typical day before dinner. Or, again, I'll give the cigarette analogy, the automatics. When I sit down in front of the TV and I crave popcorn or some pretzels or, those you're not really hungry, but you just, those are normal, natural things, and you kind of feel like you got to have that. And so the takeaway from this should be, even though it's only one data point, is that you really don't need food. And I remember watching a video by a gentleman here who's been fasting quite a while, and he's not athletic, and I think he's attractive to many people looking for solutions to their weight loss issues. So he's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but there I go, I lost my train of thought. I'm not functioning at top. It's just, there is some difficulty in getting my thoughts across at 40 hours. But anyway, oh well, I can't remember what I was going to say. But he had made many points, and I really am thankful to that guy, because he gives detailed videos about his experiences with fasting. So I urge you, if you're interested in this kind of thing, and I'm not going to tell you why, other than what I've already done. My objective was to give my gut a break, and it really has. I mean, here I am, day 2, and my gut's been silent. And to me, this is probably the first time in my life that's occurred. So, mission accomplished. Closest thing to this might be, a few colonoscopies that we're asked to have. Get cleaned out quite well in the prep for that, obviously. But I want to try this in an intermittent basis going forward. I thought that I'd try 60 hours my first time, which is 2.5 days. Originally, I was going to do 72, but something came up tomorrow, and I need to be sharp. So I'm going to come off the diet, the fast that is, at 10 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to kind of ease into it. I'm going to take some bone broth initially at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then I'm going to have a little bit of protein, and that's it. And that protein will be in the form of chicken or turkey breast only, and that's all I'm going to eat for 2 hours. And then I'm going to start at noonish, a normal lunch, and then have dinner. And I don't know exactly when I'm going to start up again. This has been a long fast, but an intermittent fast, I'm thinking, 3 or 4 days a week. And I'm talking intermittent would be the 18 to 20 hour types of fasts. And those are, I think, very easy for me to do, because I can eat at 6 and then not eat until 2 o'clock the next day. So anyway, those are my first impressions regarding this, and we'll see how it goes. I'm under 20 hours now before I get to start it back up. Oh, one more thing. It's actually harder than quitting smoking, because you have to start up again. When you quit smoking, you can take a 12 steps approach to the whole thing, and you could say goodbye to cigarettes forever, but you got to eat, right, at some point. And just managing your eating is probably the toughest thing I've ever done. I used to list the hardest things I've ever done is number one, quitting smoking, number two, getting my college degree, and number three, doing the Ironman triathlon. And the third one was a distant third. And really, the first one was head and shoulders above all the rest in terms of difficulty. I really, really feel bad for people that just cannot get their weight under control. I urge everybody to do this and look into what it is about themselves individually that is the problem. And I think it's a combination, at least my experience, it's a combination of your own individual genetics, if you will, which you can deal with. You don't have to resign yourself to a life of obesity. There are ways to get around it, and I'm a big believer in there's no one diet for all humans. Look into what individually causes you insulin spikes and start eliminating those things from your diet. And then the other half of it's mental. And this is the experience I'm giving you today, is that we're conditioned to eat to a great extent, and you can manage it. And I think everybody ought to give fasting a try. All right, so long-winded, I'm sorry. It's my first fasting video. Let's see where this takes us from here. All the best.